scheduled for one fall with no time.
Super hot fire!
The greatest spectacle in podcast entertainment, Mr. Nestlemania.
That was literally verbal diarrhea. I'm setting the bar awfully low. Titus O'Neil keeps running directly into that bar. Get him off my TV, get him off my TV. You make me very angry.
The man who has a better IQ than you, the awe-inspiring JC.
You should go work for WWE because you'd be so up far up Vince's
No.
Oh, you are such a sucker. You defend everything, all the bad moves they make.
This is the Jobber Knocker Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker Podcast. As always, is Nestlemania. Alongside for the ride is JC. We have entered an interesting week, but before we get to that, we have a couple of announcements.
We have Jobber Knocker announcements. First of all, I don't know how this happened, but your boys, Nestlemania and JC, are nominated for not one, but two Wrestling Podcast Awards. I believe the first one is Best Duo, and the other one is Best Comedy.
Comedy, yes. I don't know how we got on that thing. I don't know how we were on the radar.
I think I'm funny. Apparently, it's a few other people might think we're funny.
We're funny, damn it.
Yeah.
We're funny.
Well,
one side of the table,
why don't you tell the
maybe.
people how they can vote on that?
So yes, you can go. There's actually a bunch of tweets out if you go to the Jobber Knocker at Jobber Knocker on Twitter and see that there's usually a hashtag that says Wrestling Podcast Awards. Go there. You're gonna have to sign into a Google form, I believe. So you're gonna have to have a Gmail account, but. Please do it. It would be hilarious to see us win because we'll see what happens.
We didn't even know about this.
We didn't even know.
Our boy TJ tweeted it out, and you were like, "What?" And then I saw it. I was like, "Oh, really cool."
So yeah, I like I said, it would be hilarious to win. But again, we appreciate all the support. Also, very much, I wanted to tell you how thankful we are with everybody that follows us on Twitter. We are very definitely close to 5,000 Twitter followers. So please tell your grandmother, tell your grandfather, tell a fish. I don't care, whatever.
You can't steal my gimmick.
Go ahead, do it.
No, I'm just saying you can't steal it. It doesn't work.
I'm just saying,
shimmy yourself out of that.
Shimmy, yeah.
Segment. But yes, follow at Jobber Knocker on Twitter, the most important Twitter account, but also at JC of the JK, at DQ of the JK, at Ray Ray of the JK, at Billy D2411, at Joe Pollock 47, at TJ of the JK, at The Real Deal B Cox, at Only Aaron Turner. That is the entire team. Follow all of them, but most importantly, at Jobber Knocker.
You can't even get through it without.
Give me the stink eye.
Yeah, because you know what you missed.
I also do want to say that we are sorry for those of you that have been experiencing some technical difficulties with the podcast. We've been working on possibly migrating to an original server because the one we use now has been kind of difficult, but if for some reason it's not working, bear with us on iTunes especially. If you do keep trying it, it has been working for most people, but if not, we list off all the places where you can listen for now, it's iTunes, Podomatic, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean. So if for some reason one isn't working, try it there. You can get through it on like your Safari app on your phone. If for some reason the actual app isn't working, I would recommend probably Podbean or Podomatic iTunes, because those two seem to be the most reliable for now. So so we're sorry about that. But
there's also YouTube as well, so you can go to YouTube too.
Yes, if you want to watch us.
You can just let it on your phone. It's the same thing.
That's true.
You can go to YouTube.
Yeah,
it's
it
fine.
all works the same.
It is, but again, I've been working tirelessly. These people have been pissing me off. You have no idea. You think I'm angry on this program? You should see me in real life, folks. It gets me very, very hot.
You'll find out who the culprits are once they get dropped from that part of the show. But also the website, since we're here, might as well do it at Jobber Knocker. Check everything out. We have the weekly articles, NXT, UK, AEW, and NWA. Power! And maybe, you know what? The staff will do some full gear predictions, which we're going to hit on in the finish. But right now, we got to start the show.
You'll always be in my shine. Mwah.
The Jewel of Crowns! It was actually, you know what? I had fun watching this. I put it on at work. I was working on a Celtics montage at the same time. So, I was a little distracted, but at the same time, there were a couple things in the show that I stopped and watched. And you know what? Normally we go in order, but today we're going to start with the fucking main event because that's the lead, man. The Fiend is the new Universal Champion. Hashtag JC's hopes come true.
Yeah,
Alongside the powers of Nestlemania, I had to lift him up with me to make our hopes come true together. The Fiend is the Universal Champion of the world.
Yowie wowie.
It happened. How do you feel that it happened? Because for me, when I went, finally, and also, that was the match I think we all wanted at Hell in a Cell. That was the feeling of what was going down. It was interesting that he got thrown off the stage, the pyro happened, and then he went down, and of course, he just rose up
from the dead.
Yeah, exactly. It was great. It was wonderful. I appreciated that everything seemed to be the way it needed to be. I liked the way that Seth actually sold some stuff for once. It was a great match. It was fun. And again, I was pleasantly surprised how good everything was, it seemed, for most of it. And, I'm curious to see where it goes. A lot of people are freaking out saying, the belt's going to change to blue now and all this other stuff because it's going to SmackDown.
I think he's going to have a personalized Wyatt belt, which is going to be pretty dope. And honestly, the way this kind of shook out, we can kind of mention it now with Lesnar going to Raw and The Fiend staying on SmackDown, I think works better for The Fiend because think of the feuds we have now. We have Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan. That's 3 right off the hop on SmackDown that could easily take us through WrestleMania at this point. So, and then also a couple other guys in between, throwing Shorty G and studs like that.
Yeah,
but this was the right move for The Fiend. It'll be fresh. It's weird of him not being on Raw, but I think we'll get over it.
I think Raw is definitely getting a facelift in certain ways, so we'll see how that goes. But again, going back to Crown Jewel, what else did you enjoy?
Shimmy, yeah! Wins the Battle Royal to set up a rerun against AJ Styles. And once again, AJ booked like a champ.
Yeah, he tried real hard, Umberto. And I have yet to. I know we're getting exposed to him, and we're trying to learn more about him. So I have to give him a free pass.
They're throwing the man in the fire.
Yeah, they are. They are. It is a deep end feel. It really does feel like that. And he's trying. Look in the ring. The one thing I will say that drives me up a fucking wall, and I know it doesn't really matter, but it's, again, being somebody that's taught wrestling school and, taught how to do something, he hits the ropes lucha style. So when you hit the ropes, you're supposed to grab your right arm. He spins, if you watch him hit the ropes, he spins the wrong way and goes left-handed, and just watching it doesn't look right to me. But, again...
That's his style, though. He used to wrestle under a mask and everything.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's a true lucha.
He is a true lucha. However, when I watch it, it throws me off for a moment, and then I think it puts me in a different category mentally where it makes me mad, and then I end up hating certain things about him, which is not fair to him because he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
So.
And we like saying, shimmy, yeah! But the match that kicked off the main card was Brock Lesnar against Cain Velasquez. This match was quick, which I was very happy with.
Really?
They kept it brief. Yeah, I wanted it quick. You wanted this to go long? No, I wanted it fast. Was it sloppy? Hell yeah, but at least it went quick. And then Rey Mysterio comes out looking like a champ, beating the shit out of Lesnar after he taps out Cain Velasquez.
Lasting longer than most of people's, bedroom time, but that's fine. And it's fine. I know you want to hit a button. Don't do it.
Nasty.
But, look, there were a lot of things here when I was watching it. It was weird. He did that whole, I'm ready to MMA it up, and then it was a lot of hugging and grappling and whatever, and then, he put him in an armbar. I would have rather him knock him out in that amount of time. Because
I'm okay with this because it was a very, fuck you, a WWE guy can beat these guys.
Sure. And that the end result is fine. I just feel like a knockout to me, you say someone gets caught in a knockout or a kick.
Well, we had that later.
Sure. Whatever. But you get that, and I'm more excited for that. But when you get to the whole, he slipped into an arm bar, come on. You're going to tell me he's...
There is. Apparently, Kane did mess up his knee, so I think they had to, end it quick. So I'm sure that might have been part of it, too.
There are little things. It was a B+. It wasn't an A, but it was fine. Again, now we're on to something better. I'm excited when we talk about Raw that there is a better feud.
Yeah, it's a real feud, and we are going to get to that. Next up, we had the fucking joke of the evening.
What are you talking about?
You called it. You're right. For the first time ever, you got something right.
I know.
The OC fucking wins best tag team in the world. Oh my God.
Come on, give it up for your boy. Give it up for me.
He's looking for something to hit.
I can't. There's nothing.
What's up, jobbers? Jobber alert.
Every dog has its day,
listen,
man.
A broken clock is right twice a day, and so am I. But look, I can't for the love of me. I did not even watch it. I literally tuned in. I was getting my oil change, looking on my phone, and I didn't know where I was in the turmoil.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I see the OC, and I forget who was in the end. Was it the New Day?
It was them and the. I thought it was the Viking.
Okay, well,
they eliminated those two because there was schmaz.
Okay, so whatever happened at the end, and I went 1, 2, 3. I'm like, who's coming out next? And then they gave him the trophy, and I started dying, shaking in my car of laughter. These idiots probably think who is this buffoon in the car rocking himself in laughter? And then all of a sudden, you just start blowing up my phone. Oh my God! What did I do?
So the backstory on this is you guys didn't see this on the podcast. Obviously, I made fun of you a little bit, but we have a Google sheet where we put in our predictions so our boy DQ can put up the wonderful article for you guys to read on the website, jobberknocker.com. So you let me fill it out this week because you were busy, and I literally wrote OC ... LOL in it. So it was just like,
Yeah,
you
eat
got it,
that.
man.
Eat it.
You got it, man, because I did. I laughed at you like crazy because that was a horrible pick, but they won, so you got it right. Next up was, I thought, one of the pleasant surprises of the evening, Mansoor defeating Cesaro in what was, I thought, a very good match, and kind of wondering why this guy only wrestles once a year and why he's just like not around in NXT, because he seems like he can go a little. Of course, with Cesaro's the perfect guy to do it, but this was a pretty cool moment. One of two very cool moments on the show.
I mean, he's definitely, I don't know if they're trying to create a different NXT over in that area. I don't know if that's what they're saving him for. It seemed like fun. And again, Cesaro against a broom would work. So this guy was actually talented. So, you know, it worked fine.
It worked well.
And the crowd, of course, when you see somebody that looks like you, feels like you, has the same beliefs as you, all
Literally
that
from there.
Literally from there, does everything about it. Like, it's a good, feel-good moment. And every time he does something, it's fun. So, yeah, it served its purpose.
We're going to go to my favorite part of the show. I'm going to skip over the next one. We're going to go back to it, but I just want to talk about it now. But that Natalya, Lacey Evans, everything about that experience was special. It was incredible to watch. The crowd pop for Natalya was like the biggest crowd pop I think she's ever got. That shit was legit. They had pyro for both the women, so you knew it was a big deal. It made the moment even more special. Sure, you had the one or two assholes in the crowd throwing a water bottle, but besides that, like the cutaways to all like the young women in the crowd and everything, like, I don't know. It was a little dusty in my edit bay. I don't know what was going on, but I remember I was just...
He's allergic to a lot of
things.
things.
I had to pause doing my montage at this point because I was having trouble focusing on that, because this was powerful, and it's something that I think for everyone in that audience, it was something they'll never forget. For those two women in the ring especially, I think Natalya said it was like the defining moment of her career, which is a big deal, but... You know, for everything negative we say about these pay-per-views and stuff, like, this is something that, like, literally groundbreaking, special, and it was my favorite part of the pay-per-view. For 1,000,000%.
I did enjoy it very much, and again, I got a little misty as well. The one thing that threw me off was the T-shirts. I thought that was, I understood, no, but I mean, they were covered head to toe regardless.
Yeah.
But and I understood they had to for certain reasons and stuff like that. And I'm always wondering, like, what they're told before they go out.
Well, they didn't have to cover their faces or anything,
No.
which is great, but, like, it's, you know.
It is, yeah. But
baby steps.
Yeah,
baby steps.
I will say they do a great job of, PRing it up and making it a big deal. And it was a big deal. And I think that, if you go to any other company trying to make that thing happen, it doesn't happen, or, it's not going to be done to the extent of the way it was happened. And of course, WWE is very good about celebrating things that they do. And Vince loves the first evers and not only the monetary value of it, but the heaviness of the moment in general. So it is a big moment. They treated it like a big moment. And here's where I would have, and again, this isn't a bad thing. This is something that I think is reversed for me. I would have preferred that they put Lacey and Natty on the same show, because I think based on this moment, it would have been nice to bring them together, because now we have to watch Charlotte and Natty, and I would have loved to have, when they had Lacey and Natty tag for that one time before they decided to split them on shows, I think if they had waited a moment, let them have that moment together and say that's a moment you can never take away from us, and they're very proud of that moment, then I would have believed them being a team, instead of having this random Natty Charlotte thing, which again is fine. They're going to say pedigree and all that other stuff. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But I think, to me, that was a missed opportunity, because they have such a monumental moment. They'll always be tethered for that. Even when they're 100 years old, they're going to come back and say, those two women made it okay, for a certain thing to happen in Saudi Arabia. So for me, it feels like it's a missed opportunity.
I think part of it was one of those they couldn't put the cart before the horse, because obviously the decision to do this match, like, they brought them over there just like they did last time with the hope that it would happen, but it didn't actually happen until they, Vince probably got in a room with the princes and was like, look, this is something, again, we really, really want to do, and I'm sure there was a back and forth, and this time Vince and WWE won out and they were able to do it, but it's one of those things where the decision for the roster and everything was made well before that, so I think that was just it, but it just, I agree with you with that, because they had the story going where they had the back and forth and they teamed up, but man, I just still, like, thinking about it, I'm like, man, that was cool.
Yeah,
it was cool.
It was.
Something else that was actually really cool was Tyson Fury's entrance, which those of you that are familiar with the Gypsy King, he is all about spectacle and all that shit. He is all about that, so this was perfectly fitting of what he would do. The match was clunky as fuck, but in terms for the first time Tyson Fury ever being in a ring and being asked to how much they were supposed to do, I will say I thought he did a good job for my expectations for him, because, like, guy's pretty much an amateur at this. But the finish, was it great? No, but it was the only one that really made sense they were doing this match.
I did say to myself when I was watching, and Braun's in the middle of the ring, all the lights shut off, and they have that spotlight on Braun, and you just hear, do your thing, do what you want to do. And then like the pyro, the amount of pyro, and I remember you tweeting out, this guy gets it, but seeing the pyro, and then they cut back to Braun, who just looks like an ogre, confused as hell. It painted a great picture to me, like if I was watching a 90s superhero movie, and the villain is just sitting there unenthusiastic about having it, and this guy is trying to be like, it almost felt like very much Apollo Creed versus Ivan Drago. It just felt like he's just in the middle of the ring waiting for something crazy to happen, and here comes this spectacle. I would have preferred a little bit. I mean, I appreciated when he came out with the garb and like he was very cheesy to everybody.
That's
him, and that's great. I will say it was odd to me because I would have preferred him not wearing a shirt and all this other stuff, make him look like a boxer. And then have him not have the gloves, but I mean have him taped with the white hands instead of... There are little things here and there. I'm sure it doesn't really necessarily matter. But I was looking at it going, you could have had him in his boxing gear. And that might... Again, these are the little details, but it would have made a better picture for later on in life to have that be a monumental moment where he just looked like some guy who put on gym shorts and a shirt and decided to be a wrestler for the day, which is different. So... Again, it was fine, but
I don't think he's done with the company though either.
No.
He has obviously his big fight coming up with Wilder, but
like so. For instance, when I went to WrestleMania 24, Mayweather was money, but he looked like he was Mayweather. You know what I mean? And so that's what I was hoping for.
Smells like money, talks like money. He is money.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I was thinking about it. But again, the only way you could get him done was with a knockout punch, and it's fine, and it is what it is.
And then your favorite match on the card, 10-man tag, which was an elimination. Team Hogan versus Team Flair. This thing was a spot fest, but I thought it was fun.
Nobody's more over than Randy Orton. I got to tell you. Holy moly, that crowd went bananas.
He's the best, man.
Bananas. And then, of course, Roman Reigns, not to be outdone, came out, and he got what we like to call the big dog.
Here comes the big dog. The big dog, Roman Reigns.
The treatment. He got the treatment, but again, between everybody else had like zero pop comparatively to these two. And it was not even close. Great, thank God they were captains, but just watching that entire match, I went, wow, Roman's really got it cooking. Wow, Randy's really got it going. And, the guys sprinkled in a little here and there and everything. I appreciated Rusev's tights with the Hulkamania, whatever. But, again, I hate this stuff. So, all these things, I'm just like, get it over with. Just get it off my television and let's move on.
It was fun, man. We like fun. But you know what? It is time. No, what's funny? I hit the shine button to get in the crown jewel. But you know what? I thought it was shine. So, we're going to keep the shine train going.
Sure.
And we're going to head it to SmackDown Live, which... You know what? I'm just going to come out and say this right now.
Oh, no.
SmackDown Live, 100% shine.
Wow.
100% shine from your boy JC. So my favorite part of SmackDown was the Ciampa and Miz stuff because it was something that when it was happening, I was like, I never really thought about this. And then the promo started and I was like, ooh, Ciampa's giving it to Miz. Ooh, Ciampa. The second he got this call to come here, he must have been licking his lips because he brought it to The Miz. And you could tell they kept cutting away to The Miz, and he looked like he just wanted to smile and hug him and be like, you're doing such a great job, kid. Because he was just like, he was getting roasted. And then, the problem is, since they clipped The Miz wings, his comebacks are kind of like, I'm milky white babyface. Good job. Then they fought. Ciampa won. But I thought this for me was awesome.
It was a moment. I think a lot of people love Ciampa. So honestly, anything he does, I will say the weirdness of it was... in Miz TV's talking, and then that long beep, beep, like it just felt terribly. I would have loved to see it be rushed a little bit in terms of the entrance thing, but I know they had to milk it. The match itself, I don't necessarily know if I enjoyed the styles of the two. I thought that they did a good job for what their styles are.
Probably the first time these two guys talked.
Oh, I'm sure. So I'm sure it can only get better. However, I thought, The Miz, as much as Daniel Bryan makes a joke, WWE safe guy, he plays very safe. Ciampa necessarily not necessarily goes very safe.
Yeah.
He can if he wants to, but that's not what the gimmick is. He's very much a spin around Tasmanian.
There's a reason he gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, he throws caution to the wind and he fights like he fights. And so it felt like Ciampa had to slow down to bring into the gear of the Miz, which is fine, and it is, but I'm hoping that whoever Ciampa, I'm not going to hit the big dog button. I assume that's who he's going to face at Survivor Series.
Ooh.
But based on Twitter wars. I'm hoping that people who end up with Ciampa actually get to let him kind of do the Ciampa thing.
I'm assuming there'll probably be like a 5-on-5-on-5. 15-man triple threat tag team match.
I cannot.
Hala.
There's no stakes. There's no stakes involved yet. So again, let's move on. What else did you?
Well, you know what? I'm waiting for you to bring it up.
I'm sorry. Would you like to bring up something specific?
Yeah, the main event, which was also a.
What's up, jobbers?
Oh no.
Jobber alert.
Adam Cole, baby, defeats Daniel Bryan clean. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. This is a fun match. I'm sure you loved it and watched it 30 times with your pants off.
Well, that is not for you to know and me to find out.
What?
I don't know. I'm tired. Give me a break. My life is in shambles. Look, there's so many things that I love about this match. I appreciated everything that came up to it, especially on SmackDown. Again, I'm telling you right now, I'm just going to throw this out there. Clearly, I'm a Daniel Bryan homer, so clearly you're all going to make fun of me anyway. Daniel Bryan versus Adam Cole, a lot better than Adam Cole versus Seth Rollins.
They were both good matches.
No, I'm telling you right now, there was one that was better than the other, and it was Daniel Bryan. So there you go.
You know what was better than both of them? Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano.
I'm sure it was, but it also had 45 fucking minutes.
Which one? They were all great.
They all look the same after a while. Anyway,
Well,
I'm just saying, here's I think what I want to get into the brass tacks of everything. Clearly, the Undisputed Era looks like $1 million throughout Monday as well as Friday. But I'm sitting with my wife. We're talking, and she sees Adam Cole. She knows I love Adam Cole. She's even geared every time she hears Adam Cole. She goes, baby, whatever.
boom.
She does all that stuff. She enjoys it. But she literally watched him walk out and goes, oh, Adam Cole. I haven't seen him before. Is he a cruiserweight? And I just kind of start chuckling, and she goes, he doesn't look that important. He looks like a cruiserweight.
That's why he has a faction.
I know. So I don't even think the guys. Honestly, I think all the guys in the faction might be cruiserweights too.
Well, no, they all 4 of them are. But let me put it this way in general with NXT, because our boy TJ said he's like, man, The Miz looks huge when against Ciampa. And I'm like, yeah, The Miz is actually a really big dude. It's just those main roster guys, it's a different level size. That's why you get the guys like the Gables and the Ricochets. They look so tiny and comparatively. So bringing up the NXT guys, a guy like Ciampa who looks big in NXT, not as big as a guy like The Miz. In Undisputed Era, not as big as the other guys. And that was besides Riddle and Keith Lee, you really saw that, like, damn, like, these guys are a lot smaller.
That's why they're protected in NXT, honestly, in a lot of...
It's just different, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm not saying that they can't hang on the Raw or SmackDown, but I will say there is a lot that when I watch it, I go, oh, yeah, like, I love Adam Cole, so I don't think of these things.
Yeah. But it's the same thing. It's like Daniel Bryan and Rey Mysterio have always been... It can work.
It can work.
If they're booked the right way, and Adam Cole is one of the most talented people I've ever watched. So when and if he ever does come to the main roster, I don't think it'll be an issue for him.
Okay. Moving along.
So we said Riddle. We'll just run through a couple of them here, and you can add if you want to. Riddle and Keith Lee beat up Sami Zayn. Sami cut a fun promo. The backstage thing was funny with him talking shit. You're like, oh, who's gonna walk up? And it was those two guys. Mandy Sonia versus Ripley and Knox was a nice surprise, but this was after one of the highlights was Bianca freaking launching Carmella.
So can I have a moment for this? So
hilarious.
Look, so we have Sonia and Mandy in the ring, which I'm surprised you haven't hit this button. And they're in the ring doing their thing, hugging and whatever they do. And then so they cut away to not having, our Carmella entrance. And then, of course, so here's the part that drives me fucking bananas, right? You see the EST beating the piss out of Dana Brooke and throwing her into the cases. Yeah. Off to the right, you just see, I don't know if Carmella's got a bad headache or if the sell job that Carmella does looks like she's like, don't talk to me right now. I'm having a glass of wine. I'm having a bad day.
She already got beat up, man.
But it didn't look real. It didn't look real. It looked terrible. It looked like she did not want any part of it, is what it looked like.
She was about to get launched over a thing.
I would have loved that if I was her. If I knew someone was going to pick me up and throw me through something, I would have been sitting there going, I'm going to drool. I'm going to look like I've been hit by a Mack truck. And she's just sitting there looking like she's coping because she's having a bad day. It looked awful. Then she gets picked up, and the way the camera picks her up, her face is almost full frame. And you just see her go, like that's what it looked like.
She had a good concussed face.
No, it was awful.
When you're concussed, you're not going, you're concussed, bro.
I was looking at it and staring at it for the wrong fucking reasons. Other than that, I appreciated everything about it.
That is so
but
nitpicky.
it was so
Oh my
stupid. No, it
God.
wasn't.
Out of your freaking...
No, it was
no.
not. You are
ridiculously nitpicky.
No, that is something when you see it,
so
it takes
nitpicky.
away from everything.
No, maybe for you because you're Nestle. You're weird. But we're going to get back to the main part of this. Mandy, once again, putting over everyone. Fucking stud. Always in the shine.
Sure, yeah, whatever.
Then we had Bailey beat Cross thanks to Sasha intervening. And Shayna Baszler shows up and beats the fuck out of both of them.
Give me Shayna Baszler all the time. I love it.
She's really good.
love her. I think, clearly I love the Bailey. I love the Sasha. But there is something special about Shayna Baszler. There are some people, and I don't know if it is just a MMA thing, but I feel like the people who are in MMA that transfer over to wrestling have that innate ability to make you feel uncomfortable. That a lot of people on the roster,
Shayna Baszler, yeah.
a lot of people on the roster do not like. So here's, and I think we're probably going to transfer over because I feel as if we're going to have to talk about it anyway, the Becky Lynch stuff. As much, and this is where I'm probably going to get some hate, as much as I love Becky Lynch, as much as she's accomplished, as much as everything she was, I couldn't take my eyes off of Shayna Baszler during that promo. Yeah, and here's the thing.
She's new.
So, yeah, but that's fine. There is a legitimacy to Shayna Baszler, and here's what I don't believe. I honestly don't, and I think you're going to say I'm nitpicky, but there is something about Becky Lynch saying she's the baddest woman on the planet, that she's going to do this, she's doing that. I feel as if I don't believe that, and I'm watching her say it, and I don't believe her saying it as well. And then when Shayna comes in and says all these things like, pleasure to meet you, can't wait to pick a body part, and let me know which one you don't want. I love that, but it made me feel uncomfortable. Becky Lynch made it feel like she was playing the role of somebody that was tough versus somebody that I believe is actually tough.
Becky Lynch beat Ronda Rousey.
Sure.
Okay, just saying. You might have forgotten that.
No, she said it in the promo. I'm not
like
forgetting it.
Her thing is all bravado.
No, I know
yes,
that.
Shayna, like her thing is intimidation.
Sure.
Like that has always been her thing. And that's why this matchup is a matchup that I've wanted for a long time because Becky and Ronda work so well. Becky and Shayna would work as well as too. But getting Bailey mixed in this I think is good too because this is like a little taste, a little tease of the future, but it's not giving it to us in something that actually doesn't matter.
So I guess it doesn't matter because it's just me, but so do you look at it as Bailey is going to eat a pin or eat a submission or whatever?
Logically, I know that you think Bailey's going to win this match.
I think so.
I just I don't see Shayna taking a pin or tapping out unless they do a Becky Shayna double count out with Bailey winning, which I actually think would be good because it'd make those two look great, set up a feud down the road, and then Bailey could just be the fucking shit-eating heel standing in the ring laughing. Mm-hmm. So that is how I would book it if you're going to have Bailey win. But I would assume will be Becky tapping out Bailey.
Okay.
I think that's the safest route, but I like the other route better. But
okay.
We know they can be safe.
Okay.
You know who's not safe? The fucking workhorse of the main roster, Brock Lesnar. Not only does he quit SmackDown, the crowd was red hot for this. He goes on to Raw and has in like 50 segments.
Yeah.
This man, you talk about earning your paycheck. Brock freaking Lesnar, man. That guy works more than anyone. This week especially, he was on all 3 shows. Tell me someone else who was on all 3 shows. You can't.
I'm pretty sure we can figure out this.
No, you can't. Everyone else is in Saudi Arabia for SmackDown.
All right.
He was the only one because Brock is the workhorse of the company. That is why he always has a championship because he's always around and he's always defending it.
We have a beast sometimes, as Ricochet tweeted out. Look, so here's something else I wanted to say very quickly because we had this conversation last week. I think you said it on the program. There needs to be a promo explanation on why this trade was okay or why this thing was okay. And I think they literally verbatim took what you said in a way.
It was weird because they started it. Like Paul Heyman is like, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross were traded for players to be named later. But Brock Lesnar doesn't play by rules. He quit and just goes to Raw because they don't want to lose his contract. So I'm like, wait a minute. So is it not part of Alexa and Nikki? Because you didn't say he was changed for the draft picks. Like Heyman brought it up, but he never actually gave us what actually happened except for saying that Brock can quit one show and go on the other because he's special. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns can't. Brock's the only one who can. So I was like, so wait, this is separate from that trade? So they did bring it up, but they didn't They didn't like clarify. I don't know. It's weird. Whatever. I don't care.
I'm sure on the bump, or I'm
Enough.
sure at WWE backstage, I'm sure there'll be clarification of something.
I'm excited for Backstage tonight. I enjoyed that show.
Do you?
Yeah,
Have you watched?
It's a good mix of talent. I mean, obviously being a big Christian guy,
Ay,
big
ay,
Paige
ay.
guy, and big Renee guy, and I like Booker T too. It's just
You don't
I
like the
thought
Shucky Ducky?
It was just a good format of something that we've kind of been asking for a long time, like a talk show mixed with fun. Like it's literally any other show you'd see about other sports with like an athlete interview mixed in. So I don't mind it because I just think they have the right talent to pull it off.
I think that promo class thing needs to go. Honestly,
that
that's
was pretty
bad.
useless, but I could watch Christian serve someone any day because that other guy looked like a chump.
I
like Akbar.
There are certain segments of that show I just think no.
But watch
no.
any sort of show that is an hour long
Yeah.
about sports. There are segments that suck.
Yeah.
But I think overall it's a good decision because they're finally catching up to where they need to be to like just give us more content.
Okay, that's fine. Anything else?
Yeah, we got to talk about them because
What's up, jobbers? Jobber alert.
I believe they were the
East Hampton Polo Boys.
Yes!
There you go.
I love the East Hampton Polo Boys. And you know what? These two, like MJF looking mofos, got fed to the Viking Raiders, and they did a great job. I thought this was fun. Is it weird that your tag team champions are still doing jobber matches? I don't give a shit. We talk about old school. This is as old school as it gets. Not facing real people, just showing them off. I enjoyed this segment.
I did not enjoy the promo afterwards, and I don't think the crowd did either.
Yeah.
It just felt this crowd, honestly, on
Those
Monday
guys
Night
shouldn't
Raw.
have to cut promos.
That was a wet fart, a wet
Yeah,
blanket.
crowd
That
sucked.
crowd was terrible. I was
Where
at the
were they?
Nassau Coliseum.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. The Coliseum of Nassau.
Weak sauce.
Weak indeed. There was a lot of things that I wish that they had actually reacted to because there were actually some pretty good stuff on Monday Night Raw, but they didn't do that. So another thing very quickly I thought that was definitely very shine-worthy was Booyaka Booyaka Bat Time. It was... I could not for the life of me take my eyes off of that. I thought there was a street feel to him. You know what?
That was good shit.
I'm gonna lose most likely, but I am coming out with a bat to equalize it. And of course, we can't overlook the fact that Dio stepped in for the King, which is a nice little touch. And of course, you know, Brock picked him up like he was nothing, threw him up like a pizza, and boom, through
Cool visual.
It was great.
6'9" guy getting F5 like he's nothing.
Yeah, and I appreciated that you know, Brock went backstage and beat up the PAs. All of it was just, and then of course, and then Ray cuts a promo directly to the camera versus having somebody interview.
Like that.
Felt more realistic. I enjoyed it. I thought there were a lot of, we've made a joke on this program for the longest time that Rey Mysterio needs to go out of the door. But this is the first time, I think, in the iteration of this Mysterio, at least from the last couple of years or whatever, however long from this and his last run through, that I've actually been excited to see Rey Mysterio do something.
This is, I literally tweeted out, this is cool because it is a real feud. Like, this is a real feud, and everything about this makes sense. It started with Brock beating up his kid. Now Brock took out, I believe, is he the Godfather?
He is.
Godfather to his kid. Like, Brock is literally running train on this entire family.
Whoa.
And so Ray has a reason. He has that underdog feel again. I'm just going to roll right through that, baby, because... It's finally, like you said, Rey Mysterio looks great in this, and you can feel it. It's real for him, and it's like, this is a match that if you just told me about it, I'd be like, I don't want to see that. But with this feud, I'm excited to see it because I think at Survivor Series, I think they're going to go pretty balls to the wall.
Do you think it is weird, because it is NXT versus SmackDown versus Raw, that we're not having the triple champion?
Not everything I think has to be like that. Like we said, like Paul Heyman said in that promo on Raw, Brock Lesnar's different. Brock Lesnar is not like everything else on your show. That's why he's treated like a big deal. That's why he's paid like a big deal. That's why he's allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants like a big deal, because he is different from everything else you have. So you know what? I don't mind it, because this, on a show where you talk about there not really being stakes, is mostly bragging right. This you can put in the main event and be like, here's your fucking stakes. Like, is little guy going to get one last world title run, or is Brock just going to fucking eat him like a sandwich?
A sandwich, you say?
I don't know. I like sandwiches.
Why eat
I'm
them
hungry.
like a sandwich? I am hungry too.
Yeah, it's
I
almost
cannot wait.
lunchtime.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
That's an hour behind or forward.
It's 10:12. That's time.
Whatever. Anyway, whew. Okay, let's get back into this. Is there anything else on Monday Night Raw?
One other thing is, and you can transition off it if you want, but Rusev McIntyre is something
don't.
I'd like to see in the future. This one was something, but it's a matchup that I see on paper, and I'm like, I could get into that. Rusev Lashley feud actually like in the ring more now than in a spa or a bedroom. It's actually like these two got into it in a ring, and that RKO out of nowhere, man. Like, fucking
It
ready.
is fun. It is.
And Ricochet, pew! I just love when the sound effect hits. Out comes our superhero. So it'll probably set up a tag match next week, but I did like the touch of Drew, like when Lashley started beating with the crutch, being like, fuck this. I'm out. That was funny. He's like, you just cost me the win, bro.
Yeah, not only that, it was just, he felt like everybody else in the world, I'm sick of this fucking shit. Why did I get dragged into it? Please, for the love of God, give me something good. And it was weird because here's where I don't understand. I think this is why I can't get on the Mac train, so to speak.
Oh, God. Here we go.
This guy cuts amazing promos. This guy does amazing things. And he sits there and he goes, like, I'm better than everybody else. Everybody else is complacent.
Except for Roman Reigns.
He does all this stuff. Like, he's like, everybody's lazy. I'm going to be hitting claymores. He does all these things. And then he is injected into these stupid piece of shit things where you're just like, how can I take you seriously? How can you be the Scottish psychopath Terminator when you're sitting there being the third wheel in a triangle of a match or a storyline that makes me want to gag? I know I'm in the minority, but it doesn't put him in a light that everybody else sees him in. And I think that it's odd to me when I watch it because there's nothing menacing about him. They didn't book him that way.
He's not in this feud, though. It was just like, hey, someone wanted to fight. He volunteered. But I will say,
it's weird.
We didn't bring this up earlier. That fucking Claymore cell by Ricochet in that schmoz match at Crown Jewel was fucking incredible. It was funny. Ricochet says, how come you guys always post pics of me or videos of me getting beat up? And the first comment was, don't be so good at getting beat up.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was incredible. He did like a full like...
You couldn't, there it is. You couldn't hear it or see it, rather. But wow. I was excited also very quickly, Cedric and Buddy. I thought that was great that they had time. But then, of course... Not enough time. It was a Monday night rerun.
Get your shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com.
You know, I'm glad Buddy won, but it is what it is. And, you know, I don't know who Cedric upset, but there it is.
It's just one of those things. He got the little push, and now he's going to go out there and lose. And, you know, at least he's on TV.
Anything else, or we can hit the button?
Hit the button.
Let's get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Let's get things off our television.
Well, the floor is yours. Where would you like to start?
Man, can we start? First off, Seth Rollins comes out with his stupid black t-shirt. Kudos to our boy TJ, who was saying, oh, he's wearing all black. I wonder if they did that on purpose. You know, he's playing a little detective. No, we're not hitting the button because there's nothing to detect this week. So, look, they're doing this whole setup where, you know, Triple H, you know, when you don't know what to do, Seth, I'm the guy, yada, yada. And then, of course, the Undisputed Era comes out. Looks like $1 million. I love that. They were a possible comeback opportunity for your boy Nestle. But then I got somebody else. And they did a great job there. And they do this whole thing. I was kind of into the promo. And then it got into this weird, murky thing where then somehow people came down with the OC. People are the OC and the UE, as they say, and on Twitter. Is it going to be a thing? Who knows? Maybe, kind of, sort of. I'm sure leading up to it, the go home will
probably be part of the 10 versus 10 versus 10.
No, because
30-man elimination.
They already said that the Undisputed Era is facing in the triple threat for the NXT titles against the Smackdown titles and the Raw titles at Survivor Series. It's already a thing.
Well, no, the tag teams, yes.
The tag teams. So that's,
but I mean,
that's
Adam Cole and Roddy Strong might be part of
maybe
the schmoz.
I would love to see Roddy Strong versus, you know, maybe Shinsuke and AJ. That'd be fun. But we don't know what we're going to get. So, but it is weird. And then, of course, there's that whole thing. And Matt Riddle comes out with, you know, bro. And like they do all this stuff, you know, with, you know, Keith Lee doing his thing. And then, of course, you know, then there's Dijak. And then, of course, you know, all these.
Dijakovic?
He'll always be Dijak to me. I don't know why Dijakovic is easier to say.
No, it's not.
And I just WWE'd his name.
Yeah, they wanted a name.
Feast your eyes. Anyway, so it's a whole thing. It's a schmozzy feel. And then, of course, we get to the main event where Adam Cole versus there you go, versus Seth Rollins.
Boom.
Thank you. It was a great match, sure, but again, that ended in a schmoz versus Daniel Bryan's added. Daniel Bryan fell on his sword and gave Adam Cole the victory.
He didn't. There's a difference between Seth Rollins and Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah, because
Seth Rollins is booked like a superstar. Daniel Bryan is not, because Seth Rollins is probably better than Daniel Bryan.
No, he is not. So
here's coming from the biggest Seth hater in the world.
So tell you right now. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, I love this.
Here's I would rather have a match, have a win or a loss versus schmoz.
Yeah, but they weren't going to pin Seth Rollins, and they weren't going to pin Adam Cole and have Seth Rollins win the title.
Daniel Bryan
when they made this match, this was the only reason. Whereas Daniel Bryan, they're like, yeah, he can take the L. It's fine. Whereas Seth Rollins can't be taking no L's right now, and he can't be winning no NXT titles right now. So it was the only solution.
It was murky.
Oh, my God. Have you ever seen a TV match? Most of them are murky.
Yeah, it was
You don't give it all away, man.
I know
You just want to go out there and want to give it all away all the time. No, sometimes you got to save some stuff.
Don't put him in that match. Don't put him in the match.
I don't disagree. I don't think the match needed to happen, but they did it, so this was your way out. Schmoz fest.
It was stupid.
Schmoz
It was
fest.
all stupid. And then, of course, at the end, they ran out of time as Keith Lee flies through the air, whatever. Like,
Bask in his glory.
but there's so much that they are doing, and I get it. There's a good feel to it, but it does feel.
I'm going to get sick of it.
It is. It
Just
is.
the constant, like, invasions.
And I think here's the thing, too.
Is Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins going to invade NXT and get beat up by the fucking
Breezango?
17th tag team?
I don't know. It's just. There's a lot of it where, okay, like for the first week, it'll be great because NXT, maybe you'll have some
SmackDown
WWs
was
in it.
cool.
Yeah. Well, I'll give it to NXT where I'm sure it'll be cool too. But then, like you said, we've got, 2-3 weeks of this stuff left? I mean,
At least sort me out with they sorted out the women's division and
Sure.
the tag division. Like, these are what the matches are. I'm like, okay. The rest of it is like, what am I looking at? Like, what are we doing? Are we doing 5-on-5-on-5? Is there going to be a triple threat for the mid-card titles? Like you said, we already know Brock isn't involved. Are we going to get Adam Cole versus, who's wants it? The Fiend?
Who's and wants it?
Yeah.
Is that even a word? Who's and wants it?
Who's wants it?
Look, I think there's a chance that the Fiend may have go after the Miz or may go after somebody else. Who knows? I think that Adam Cole is going to be subject somehow into a 5-on-5-on-5, which I'm
Boom.
going. You want to talk about? First off, can we just take a moment of silence from my brain? You know how much I hate these stupid 6-man, 4 or 8-man or 10-man tags. This is going to be multiplied.
I cannot wait to see how they do it.
I'm sure everybody's going to be sitting there in their fucking, the keyboards going like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. I
got a
cannot believe
solution.
this.
Ready? Mixed match, triple threat, elimination tag match, 10v10v10. 5 Raw women, 5 Raw men, 5 SmackDown women, 5 SmackDown men,
Stupid.
5 NXT men, 5 NXT women. Oh my God, the schmaz.
I just
it would
got
be like your
sick.
18-on-18 match that we had on SmackDown that one time.
I am not exaggerating,
That
folks.
ring fight collapsed with all the bodies surrounding it.
This is making me physically
Oh,
ill.
that's great.
Physically ill. It's awful.
All
Fucking
right.
awful.
Well, now the next part of the heat for me, I have a couple of burning questions.
Go.
And for those burning questions,
Oh no. There's the wiggle. You just want it because everybody else wants it.
everyone likes to dance.
It's a reluctant.
Who doesn't like to dance?
I do.
Well, there you go.
All right.
So
shimmy it.
burning question number 1 is not a shimmy yeah.
Okay.
It is why is Asuka tapping out to Natalya?
That's a wonderful question. I think it's because, quite frankly, the fact that she had won in Saudi Arabia makes her more powerful than Asuka with Green Mist.
But why is Asuka tapping out to anyone is my point. That is my problem.
I don't agree with it. I think that the unfortunate thing is that the women's tag team titles don't mean anything to Vincent Kennedy McMahon.
I think they've done a great job with the Kabuki Warriors the last few weeks. Though they
I
have
don't
really
think so.
taken I think they've taken the belts and run with them.
Sure.
But
now
they might
we're-
be getting fed to
I was
Blondosaurus
going to say
right now.
they are definitely going to the pedigree monster.
But
they are going.
what if the Kabuki Warriors win clean over these two? That would be a pretty definitive win, especially considering they've beaten pretty much everyone else in the division.
You want to know why it's not going to fucking happen and that they're getting them? Is because Charlotte needs one fucking title to be a Grand Slam champion, and they're making sure they check all those boxes for the shoveler.
Do
Absolutely.
we think this match is happening at Survivor Series?
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
You want to make a bet?
No, because I know what you're thinking.
Coward! Remember this right now, because I would bet on the Kabuki Warriors, and you just told me there's no chance they win, and you won't take the bet.
Fine. What are we doing? As long as I don't have to shave
The
my head.
Kabuki Warriors retain their titles at Survivor Series is my side. You think Charlotte and Natty are going to win.
Okay.
If it happens at Survivor, it has to happen at Survivor,
Survivor
Series.
Series. Okay.
If I win, you wear the Mandy shirt.
Oh, we're doing this again.
It's going to happen at some point,
Eventually.
right?
I have to be wrong eventually. Okay, let's go for it.
What do you want me to do if I lose? If Charlotte and Natty win the tag titles at Survivor Series, like you just guaranteed?
I'll have to think about it, but it's definitely going to be Seth Rollins related.
Okay, I look forward to not burning it down. But you know what? This was I said I had 2 burning questions.
Yes, go ahead.
My second burning question is, why in the blue hell is Andrade feuding with Sin Cara for the 12th time? Literally, like every time Sin Cara is healthy, he hits an actual feud with Andrade. Why, detective?
I got to say this much. I am confused. Before we get to that, I will say I don't understand. Is it Catalina? Is it Carolina? Is it Carolina?
I think it's Catalina, but they did the graphic run.
So the 2 weeks in a row, or I
think they're
think
doing it on
somebody on
purpose.
Twitter told me, and I'm sorry I forgot your name. They said that it was just somebody not being able to speak the correct Latin term, which I think it's Catalina or whatever. But it's odd. That woman is clearly only 19 years old. She's doing what she can. It's odd. Zelina Vega looks like $1 million in this entire thing, so that's fine.
The crowd was dead for this.
Oh,
though,
I know. It was
which
bad.
is a shame because I thought they did an okay job.
Somebody actually put Sin Cara saying he's going to be the next WWE champion. I hope that was a joke. But look, so I think the thing is that you're going to need someone to, unfortunately, until we get to probably Royal Rumble-ish area, I think that here's my thought process, is that Andrade isn't going to be doing much of anything, and I think having some wins and losses over Sin Cara is going to keep him busy and warm instead of completely off cold. And I don't like it, but I think that that's what they're doing.
Can he fight someone else, though? Detective?
I'm sure there is somebody else that you can probably go through a roster and say that'd be a great banger.
I can find a ton of them.
I'm sure of it. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to elevate Sin Cara because they put more money back into that gimmick. Why? I don't know.
You want
But they're doing something with it.
It is one of the worst gimmicks of the new era. They've tried this thing so many. They even had 2 of them at one point. Mm-hmm. This thing just has never gotten over.
No, and it won't get over because that's what it is. I'm not gonna hit the jobber button, but he is.
# free Hunico.
Yeah, they almost took the mask off last night. So look. I don't know if maybe he's nursing an injury. I don't know if he's just Andrade.
He wouldn't be on TV if he was.
But it just feels like he's not doing a lot in terms of the matches. You watched last night, he didn't really do too much.
I don't know, it's weird.
I'm looking at it like this is a feud for a while because they have to interject with this new mask Carolina Catalina thing, and I'm not necessarily in love with it. I think it looks bad. And I think the execution of it is just, it's nothing.
You know how they save this? Maybe he's on a collision course with a certain other superstar who's been racking up all the W's. They may be on main event, but Shelton Benjamin is red hot right now with wins. Won another match again on main event. Spoiler alert if you actually watch that, but he is red hot. So Shelton Benjamin versus Andrade.
Are you done?
I'd be down with that.
Are you done?
Because then wouldn't it be funny is to see Shelton and Mia Yim take on Andrade?
Now you're just pissing me off.
Yeah, no, Mia Yim and him, she likes to make fun of him on Twitter. It'd be great. Be great. # bonus hope. # JC's hopes come true. # JC knows. I'm out of stuff.
I'm out of stuff as well. Let's get it to the big button.
Glorious! You're my only hope.
Would you like to start?
Sure, I can do that. So I have to. I'm sorry, I'm not using my sources. I'm not using my things. However, somebody has, as I'm thinking about it now on Twitter, said something to me last night that it's their hope, and I'm going to steal it. And I'm sorry that I can't remember your Twitter handle.
Wow. You start writing this stuff down.
I will. I'm sorry because it's a great idea. I don't necessarily believe that it will happen, but it is a hope that could possibly happen. I'm going to add to it, so essentially it's a big deal. At Survivor Series, we have Bayley versus Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch. I think I think that Bayley's going to win. However, this person said on Twitter to me, basically, that they think that Ronda Rousey will return and help Baszler win, thus starting, because Bayley and Becky are part of the 4 horsewomen, maybe, just maybe, the first inkling of horsewomen versus horsewomen.
8-man tag, your favorite.
I'm not necessarily loving that, but I think the lead up to it would be interesting. I think it would be something that is going to be cross-promotional. I think it is definitely a platform builder. And you know what? If I'm wrong about Bayley, I hope that this person is right about Ronda Rousey because it would be interesting. And I think it would be kind of one of those, okay, we're not stuck in kind of purgatory for a while. We're doing something fun. Let's turn up the gas. That's my hope, or somebody else's hope.
Good job, other person.
I'm going to go find them right now while you're doing your hope.
No, it's all good. It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
Literally anyone could have come up with that. It's not.
Well, I didn't want to be a jerk.
No, I understand. My hope, you know what? There's been a theme on this program, and he deserves more credit. That is the workhorse of the WWE, Brock Lesnar. We assume he's going to run through Rey Mysterio like he has the rest of the family, just, right on through them. So what is he going to do once he's done with Rey Mysterio? Probably take a well-deserved break because the man has worked so hard, having to be on 3 shows in 1 week. That is absolutely unheard of. I don't think anyone's ever done it in the history of time. But who is he going to face next on Raw? Who? New Day's not on Raw, so it can't be them. Sorry, Cope, you're not getting your rematch. But there is a man who hasn't been on TV the last few weeks. We thought he was maybe going to feud with AJ, but didn't. But on down the line, I'd like to see the next opponent for Brock Lesnar be Kevin Owens. I think Kevin would give Brock what he wants. We know Brock loves working with the smaller guys. Kevin, obviously, a little bigger. But Kevin, I think, and Brock would be a nice mix because I think KO could get physical with Brock like Brock likes to get physical. And you know what? I think Kevin Owens is the guy, if booked correctly, could defeat the Beast.
Shut up.
Be the real Beast Slayer, unlike the wannabe Beast Slayer. So you know what? My hope is that once Brock finishes the Mysterio, he feuds with Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens eventually beats Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. Hashtag JC knows. And that's it.
Very quickly, the person that was talking to me on Twitter was at the Mr. Gator. So I want to give a special shout out to them.
Aura! Probably a big fan of the big deal, Titus O'Neil.
Maybe I didn't even think of that. All right, so let's go to the next thing, baby.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
My comeback goes straight up to 1 and 1 only. Is that Shayna Baszler.
The Queen of Hearts!
The Queen
oh,
of-
wait. Aiden English, you got it wrong. She's the Queen of Spades.
And then you know how he was like ceremoniously next break was replaced by Pat
well,
McAfee?
I think it was supposed to be McAfee, but he was late because he
Yeah.
was one of those guys that got flown there.
Yeah.
But that was hilarious.
No, look, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. So, like I said, looked like $1 million on SmackDown, giving that big old knee to the face of Bayley, and then of course having that one-on-one with Becky. I really enjoyed it. I think that she's out of this week alone. I thought that she was the superstar that stood out the most from NXT, and I think that she deserves it because she works very hard, and she's always somebody that I enjoy watching, and I think that she brings that realism to technically a division that sometimes does not look very realistic. So I'm excited for Shayna Baszler to make their tap, snap, or get a pin at Survivor Series.
Speaking of someone who makes it look real, someone who is also a workhorse and was actually the best person of the week, not just of NXT, but of all three, it is the Beast, Brock Lesnar. He worked and showed up more than anyone this week. This guy, once again proving that he is the workhorse, the Iron Man, the absolute face of the company. He was in like 30 segments of Raw, wrestled a very difficult lawn match at Crown Jewel,
Can't even do a
was
straight
on
face.
SmackDown and quit that show just so he could be on another show to help carry the load. You notice he got back. He didn't have an issue with his flight in his private jet. So Brock Lesnar, workhorse, he gets my comeback. Probably for, no, I think I've given it to him before, but absolutely well-deserved stud.
Oh, wow. What a maneuver.
Oh, man, I love doing this.
What?
I just love talking.
I just love talking. I just love it.
So
makes me
yeah,
so happy.
we already pretty much socialized the pod.
We did.
We're also on Facebook, on Instagram, because we're everywhere you want to be on social media. But make sure you follow the Jobber Knocker, as we said. Vote for us on the polls that if you go to that Jobber Knocker Twitter account, you can see.
Yes, hashtag Wrestling Podcast Awards.
Best duo, best comedic act,
We're a thing.
Yeah.
We're like Barnum and Bailey. Just, we're not the circus.
Yeah, no,
Although
what-
you are a clown, so.
I'm like the greatest clown of all time.
You're Bozo? He passed away. Did you know that?
R.I.P.
The guy that played Bozo passed away. That's very upsetting.
R.I.P.
Anyway, let's right the ship. I think we have some other things. So very quickly, let's talk about this. We have Survivor Series.
Uh-huh.
Are there particulars that you think could be happening? Like we talked about The Fiend. Do you think there is a match for The Fiend? Do you think AJ is going to be facing, Shinsuke and Roddy? What do you think is going to happen at Survivor Series for the matches that we don't know
I
already?
honestly, with The Fiend, I'm not sure because I don't see him being part of a multi-man match. And the only real, one-on-one match that make sense would be Adam Cole because they're the champions. But I just think The Fiend might not be on the show,
Interesting.
which is weird. But maybe he does a funhouse. I don't know. But there's some, because it's one of those things. It's like, well, I'm looking at NXT. Who's a guy that would make sense? It'd be Finn Balor. But we've already seen that. They're not going to do that because they're pushing Finn. So they don't want to have him run into a brick wall. So I don't know, man. Is there someone on NXT that you'd like to see The Fiend face? I don't think there is.
As long as it's not Killian Dane, I'll be all right.
Oof.
Matt Riddle, bro, versus Yowie Wowie. I mean, I'm sure there's all sorts of stuff they can do there.
Matt Riddle Lesnar would have been cool.
Matt
but they're
Riddle, yeah.
saving that.
Matt Riddle is probably going to be part of that 5-on-5-on-5, which is going to make me fucking.
It might. Who knows what it's going to. It might be more than
there's
that.
a lot of different things here and there. I think that there's an outside shot that the Miz actually takes on Yowie Wowie. I'm just gonna hit the button.
Yowie, wow.
The Miz couldn't be colder, though.
I
man.
know, but
He
they were
had-
gonna do
he's
They were
just-
gonna do the Miz TV anyway, so I think that's a logical. We talked about it last week in the program. It's gonna be a logical
there'd
choice.
be a freaking jobber match on the pay-per-view. I'm okay with that.
It's fine. You got to feed them. You got to feed 'em.
Fiend me more.
Fiend me more, indeed.
No.
Look, there's a lot of things here. So I'm curious. I think we talked about it last week, but I think even more, it's an egregious thing, is that we have War Games the night before, and then we have this
Yeah.
thing. And
I think this NXT thing was the last minute thing because or else I think they would have done War Games another time because NXT's going to come into that pay-per-view with a big disadvantage because all their top stars, literally men and women, are in actual War Games matches, which if you don't know what those are, Watch last year's NXTs. They do them a little differently than the old school, but it's fucking a bloodfest. So.
Yeah, I think that it's odd to me, and I know TJ or Danny or somebody got to me and said it's brand supremacy, and that means more than. So you're going to tell me that a personal vendetta in real life is less important than you saying, no, it's not.
If you're, at your job, if they said you come together for your job to make yourself look, you put your personal things aside and do it. That has literally always been the precedent at Survivor Series is you get people who are feuding on the same teams, and it either leads to storylines playing out within the match before or after. So I have no issue with that. I think that's the cool part of Survivor Series. It's like these two guys who aren't friends and actually want to kill each other have to be on the same team. Can they put it aside? More often than not, no. They get themselves eliminated by doing it. So that is literally the whole point of Survivor Series. But I do not understand your major malfunction, Private.
Nicely done. Look, there's a lot of things about it that make me upset. It's just watching them fight side by side when, of course, they just had a...
You don't know if they're going to actually do it, though.
No, but they've gone for the last week on shows where they fought side by side as if it wasn't a big fucking deal.
Side by side, there were brawls, and if you saw Ciampa was staring down Goldie like he wanted to wrap that thing around his waist and go to town.
I'm not going to hit the nasty button. That's where my head's at. But I'm just saying it's weird to me where I think it's definitely a shoehorn. And I know they're trying their best.
It's always a
shoehorn.
But
it's weird.
But it's
weird.
I'm intrigued by this year's Survivor Series because I think it's finally, we've been asking for a couple years now, why isn't NXT involved? They're literally doing it now, and people are like, you are still complaining about it.
I'm not complaining about
that.
You
just like to complain, and that's okay. You're very
fickle.
Just like your boyfriend.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Look, I'm just saying right now, it's interesting. It's a loophole. It's definitely something that wasn't thought about. Now, look, they're doing their best they can.
They definitely thought about it, and we're like, wow, if people care this much, they need to get a fucking life.
Well, apparently I need to get a fucking life. All right, look. So I've said my piece. Let's move on. It is now the big finish.
Is it time now? Rip it in the full gear.
Considering there's not a lot of matches, go right ahead.
There are 4 matches booked. I'm sure they'll book more Wednesday. But guess what? We recorded Tuesday morning. We can't go back and edit the audio, so get over it. That's why we have a website and Twitter. You can check out the shit there. But there are 4 matches scheduled. The first up is a rerun. It is a singles match where, I'm going to take my glittery horse, and even though it died, Adam Hangman Page versus Pac.
I'm going to go Hangman.
What?
Yep.
That would be lame.
Give me Pyro. All the
Return
Pyro.
of the Pac. Give me Pac.
Pac.
Fuck Adam Page and his
Baby.
fucking Pyro. Next up is a tag team match. Holla, holla, holla. The Young Bucks of Nick and Matt Jackson take on Santana and Ortiz of the Inner Circle.
I'm going to say that I'm going to take what did you say? Santana and Ortiz? That's her name? I'm going to say that.
Santana and Ortiz as well.
Okay.
I'm excited for this match. I think they've built these guys well, and I'm curious to see how they do against the Young Bucks because they've clearly tried to make these guys a big deal in Santana and Ortiz. So...
Watching the Rock and Roll Express go through the thing was nice too. It was a nice little tidbit here.
Again, one of those things I'm watching. I'm like, whoa, and it's working because it's getting them like heat. But it's like, why the fuck are these guys taking bumps like that? Like,
they still wrestle, man.
I know, but why?
Because
why
they need
do
a
you
paycheck.
do that to yourself?
It's a sickness, man. The minute you get into a ring and you hear people booing or cheering you, it's unlike anything.
I completely
you cannot
understand,
get it out of your brain.
Oh man. Next up, we have a non-sanctioned match, which, hold on. This is where I complain a little, because this thing is so bullshit. You're letting them have a match, but it doesn't count? Fuck off. Because literally, Moxley's promo, by the way, is the best promo he's cut in probably God, I don't even know. Many, many years. It was fucking great to close that show when he was pissed off about everything. But this match, literally, a non-sanctioned match, so it doesn't count. So even if Moxley or Omega win, they don't get credit for it. But if they lose, they don't get. It's just I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Why?
Maybe it will make sense this Wednesday.
It's stupid. But you know what? Give me Moxley. They just don't want to give Omega another loss because he's probably going to face Jericho next.
I would probably tend to agree. I also want the Mox factor to happen. I hope that he hits amoxicillin on Omega. But
is that actually what he calls it?
No, I think it's the death nail or death blow or the paradigm shift is what he calls it.
Okay.
Now, no longer the dirty deeds.
Done that cheap.
Yeah, exactly. I would prefer amoxicillin, but that's not as not as
is that
striking.
Kosher?
What?
Is that kosher?
Amoxicillin?
Yeah, it's medicine.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
I mean, you take it. What's bad about that?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
Take your penicillin, kid. Anyway.
We're not talking about penicillin.
sorry, amoxicillin. Sorry. Clearly, I'm not a pharmacist. Otherwise, you'd be screwed. So, look. Oh, yeah. Anything else? Let's go. Let's move.
Yeah, the main event, which is a singles match for the AEW World Championship. Cody's been booked like a stud, by the way. These packages they've done for him, I mean, he deserves it. This match, though, it involves Jericho, whose finish is literally an elbow, which, as our boy TJ pointed out on Twitter, Cedric Alexander did in the middle of his match because it's literally a fucking elbow. It's not a real finish. Jericho's probably going to schmoz his way to a win. I would assume Guevara or Santana Ortiz or Jake Hager, we haven't seen yet, are probably going to get involved and cost Cody. MJF will be lurking. Dustin Rhodes will be lurking. It's going to be a lot of schmoz. I expect Jericho to retain.
Jericho will win, absolutely. Jericho will win. I will say this much. People are curious. Does MJF turn on
Not
Kote?
yet.
They're going to milk
too
it.
early.
They're milking the shit out of it.
I think that's coming, but I think it's too soon.
Oh, yeah. I think it's
Milk the Scarf Boy for all he's got right now.
Yeah, he's not even on television. Like he's part of like the entourage, but he doesn't
I don't remember
wrestle.
who it was last week or the week before, but the promo that I think it was the week before when Jericho cut like, who wears a scarf? Who wears it? Like that was hilarious. Like, dude, that is the one thing about Jericho that I agree. Like, why he's one of the best ever is that he just does little things like that where it's like he's purposely being a hypocrite, but it works because it's just that shitty fucking heel. And it's just, that's why he's so good. It's just in the ring, man. I'm over it with him.
So if he was just like an authority figure, would you have actually enjoyed
I mean,
it more?
I enjoy him as a champion, as Le Champion, because he just like, you get his promos every week, and I love him leading this group of guys. Like, he's made them all look fucking incredible. It's just when I actually get into the time for like the match, it's just kind of like, I hope this doesn't go a long time. And it just happens. Everyone gets old. Everyone gets, the bodies change. Like, it's normal. There's nothing wrong with that. But
are you having the talk with him right now through the podcast?
no, I mean, good for him. And like I said, he's still, all the reasons why we love Jericho, he has the best theme, I think, in that company by far. When it comes on, I'm like, yeah, this is great. But I don't know. I want Cody to win at some point. I love Cody.
He will.
He will. Of course he will. He should. He's the biggest
He's
star
the
they
boss.
have.
Of course he's going to win his own belt.
It's not even that. It's just like he is a legit, like, it is a different level with him and Omega when they are out there.
Sure.
And Jericho, those three, it's another level.
Sure. Absolutely. Anything else in the big finish here? Are we going to wrap it up?
Do you know any other matches they might book for this? I've been watching AEW, but I don't think we have a women's match in sight.
I think the tag titles will probably be having something there.
I feel like that'd be forced because they just did it with SCU.
I think they'll do something.
By the way, I've called that. You want to talk about the OC? I know my AEW tag teams. SCU.
They won in a very fast fashion at the end.
Yeah, time they got a little behind, but you know what? Whatever works.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Scorpio Sky and Kazarian.
I'm sure there's other stuff there that we haven't thought of yet, but it just seems like, they'll add some
because there's
stuff
no
in.
MJF match. There's no.
They'll add some stuff in, I'm sure. Absolutely.
That's what I'm asking. Do you have any that you would?
I would like to see Hager against somebody. I think that'd be great. Honestly, I think that's important.
I don't think he's fighting yet though, because I think he just had another. Did you see? By the way,
he got disqualified.
Yeah, because he kicked the guy in the nuts.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's the only kind of the. Besides that and the tag titles, I think those are the only two that I think really make sense for me. I mean, the women's, they haven't done anything with the championship for the women. It seems
I think
like
Riho's been overseas. That's why.
Okay. Well,
but you got your DMD Britt Baker, baby. Has been feuding with that woman that I forgot her name's B Presley.
Yes, there you go.
I don't know. That could be a match.
There's a lot of different things. I'm sure it'll shake out this week, and then we'll have to talk.
I'm ready
about
for Brandy and Khan to do something.
The Voodoo the Express. I'm interested in that. Honestly,
she
I think
beat up some chick backstage. She was pissed at her. Brandy did. So let's do something there.
Yeah. All right. I think that's pretty much it, folks. I think it is now time to wrap this thing up. So thank you for listening to the Jobber Knocker, and we will be back next week with more Jobber Knockery.